Welcome to this video, and today's video is really about how we show up in relationship. What energy are we giving? What energy are we allowing ourselves to receive? And so the question I got from a follower was from a woman. Her name is Sarah. It's not her real name, I'm just saying that's her name. Her name is Sarah, and she's asking about dating. So if you're a lady and you're interested in dating and you're in the dating scene, then this may be relevant to you. This is essentially about masculine, feminine energetics. But let me read the question out. I see that you answer questions on your feed, so I thought I'd throw this one out there. I've always found it difficult to express myself in romantic relationships with men. It's not that I can't find my voice, but my voice is very ... assertive. Others may say blunt. I'm taking on that constructive feedback. I think this is something I need to work on. I imagine a man would feel emasculated when I'm trying to express how I'm feeling because it would come across a bit aggressive. And this is the last thing I want to do. I just don't want to be a pushover. I believe I've done this in all my relationships, and I've just started seeing someone new and he's amazing, and I don't want to repeat my previous behaviors. Can you give me any tips on how to express how I'm feeling in a loving way but still be heard? Great question. Thank you for your vulnerability. Let's explore this. Let me break this down a little bit, and I want to go a little bit deeper into the nature of the question, and I also want to unpack some of what is maybe happening that we can't completely see. So, you're taking on the feedback. Amazing. You're looking at yourself and you're choosing to explore yourself. Amazing. So give yourself credit and be really grateful that you're open and willing to explore and do this type of work to change some of the behaviors and patterns that maybe don't serve you anymore. When I would try to express, I would come across as a little bit aggressive, and this is the last thing I want to do. I would ask you, where have you maybe witnessed that before? Ultimately and frequently, our behaviors, how we show up in the world today in our adult relationships, are usually products of how we grew up, what we experienced in our world, what we were largely exposed to, and what we determined or what we were told was right and wrong, what was acceptable in how we give and receive love, how we behave in relationship. Maybe for you, you've lost your power. Maybe you've given your power away. Maybe you being verbally assertive, maybe even coming across as aggressive, is you actually trying to protect a part of yourself, protect your heart maybe. Maybe it's you coming from a place of feeling safer. Maybe, again, back to that power, your sense of self or parts of who you were as a child or as a young adult and adolescent child was taken away from you or was removed from you. You didn't have access to that. And so as an adult, you developed a coping strategy, a psychological, emotional, relational coping strategy to help you feel more grounded, more in control, more in power. And so you have this assertiveness, this directed energy. You know, I spoke at the beginning of this video with respect to masculine and feminine energies. We all have these within us. They're contrasted energies. It's the reality of duality that we live in. Masculine energy is that go energy, that do energy, that exclusive energy. Feminine energy is that be energy, that flow energy, that inclusive energy. And sometimes because of the environment that we live in, the culture that we live in, we are expected, or that masculine energy is more favored. And so we're expected to be that because we are then favored. We are in that in-group and we're not isolated. We're not excluded. And so it's important to understand that's not the only reason, of course, that we may lean towards more masculine energy or masculine energetic expression. However, it can help us understand that we're too extreme in one expression. Now that, coupled with potentially how we've grown up, how we've interpreted the world, our value systems, our belief systems, it gives us a clearer understanding of, are we too extreme in a particular energetic? Are we too extreme in that do energy and that go energy? Are we too assertive? Are we over-directed? And does that feel natural to us? Is that our core essence? I did a video on the core essence of who you are. Is your core essence masculine or feminine? Some time back, and you'll be able to see that in the IGTV videos. Actually, it wasn't that long ago. It was the last couple of weeks, last few weeks, early in 2020 anyway. And so, depending on when you're watching this video. And so, the opportunity here is for you to look at your life and say, okay, am I trying to control something? Is there something else that's driving this assertiveness or this aggressiveness? And why? Why am I trying to control that? What have my experiences been in the past with the relationships that I've had? How have they shaped me? How have they influenced and impacted me? And how have I shown up in those relationships? What are the patterns? See, patterns aren't good or bad. They're just neutral. However, they tell us about where we're at, who we are, and what we really want. And so if we're observing patterns that aren't serving the values that we hold in us today, in ourselves today, then maybe it's an opportunity to change. Maybe it's an opportunity to shift. Let me just go back and address something else here. This is really important. And so I imagine a man would feel emasculated when I'm trying to express how I'm feeling, because it would come across as a bit aggressive, and this is the last thing I want to do. But I don't want to be a pushover. So that whole part there, let me break up the emasculation part first. Emasculation is a real thing per se, and men that are really healthy and centered in their being, they won't feel so triggered and threatened, they won't feel so insecure, and they won't feel so quote unquote emasculated. However, your actions can be that if you're consistently criticizing, if you're consistently telling someone that you're wrong, that they're wrong, if you're consistently critiquing them, telling them that they're not right, that they could be doing something better, if you're humiliating them. These are emasculating behaviors. Now, I don't know if you're doing that per se. I don't think you are. However, know that when a man is in his healthy posture and he's strong in that and he's vertical in his vulnerability, he trusts himself, he has confidence, he has certainty, he knows who he is, he'll set healthy boundaries around how people speak to him, but he won't necessarily feel highly offended or insecure. He'll just say, no, that's not for me, and he'll move away from that. So that gives you a little bit of insight as well into maybe the type of men that you are attracting. Again, you haven't said that you're attracting insecure men or you're attracting men that are highly offended by your actions. However, you alluded to earlier that you've been in these relationships and it's played out in your relationship, so maybe that's a factor that's playing out, just to consider. Now, the next part to this is you don't want to feel aggressive, and it's the last thing you want to do, but you don't want to be a pushover. And so maybe you've been hurt in your past, maybe in a past relationship, maybe as a child, where again your autonomy or your sovereignty, your freedom was taken away from you, or you really wanted something and you were attempting to do your best to express, but it just wasn't coming through. And so I ask you to go to that and maybe heal those parts of yourself that need some attention, that need some love right now, that need compassion. So can you be compassionate with yourself? Now, you're asking for some tips. And so what I would say to you is, can you reframe what you're saying, and can you express your needs from a place of vulnerability? Opening your feminine heart. That's a superpower that the feminine has, is opening her feminine heart. Now, if your core essence is feminine, then you have access to that. We all do actually. But can you express yourself with compassion, non-judgment, and care and sincerity? Can you express yourself with a vulnerability and an openness? Now that may make you feel unsafe. It may make you really feel jittery, and that's very difficult for you to do. And so the insight into that is maybe going into those areas that feel really unsafe, emotionally, psychologically, somatically, and begin to heal those areas and give them love, give them a voice, give them attention. That can be so liberating for you. And then you can come and you can express yourself and say, these are my needs. Use I language. When we use you language, we're projecting. And we're making the person almost feel wrong. And if they're even a little bit insecure, but even if they're not, they can take offense to that. And it can be, we become defensive all of a sudden. We don't actually hear what the person is saying. So use I statements when you're expressing your truth. Do your best to express your truth from a place of honesty. Don't overthink it, feel it, drop into your body, drop into your heart, drop into your gut. Feel that. Feminine discernment and intuition is powerful. You have access to that. So use I statements, do some healing around those parts of you that are really hurting or have been hurt. Go into that. That's important as well. That will help liberate you and help you show up differently in a relationship. Hire a coach, go to a therapist, a counselor, a shaman, a spiritual guide. I offer coaching. I help women understand men through understanding themselves, through opening their feminine hearts, through tapping into their core essence, helping them understand masculine, feminine dynamics, healing wounds of the past. If that interests you, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. You can private message me, you can email me. Let's have that conversation. I'm more than happy to have that conversation with you or anyone that is resonating with this and feels they need to let go a lot of the past. I'm here to serve. Now, one last thing I will say is honor yourself. Know yourself to honor yourself. Feel yourself to free yourself. If you come from that place, you'll give the best that you can in any relationship. Power and blessings to you. See you again soon.